International Film Festival The Hague.
My name is Vlada and I will be moderating this Q&A. And maybe we have time to spare at the end. I will turn to the audience and you will have your opportunity to ask our guests the questions. So keep your questions in mind if there's anything that I've not touched on. And may we welcome Menkveld Venning from Borneo Child Aid, who will be representing the Sama Dilaut team. And may we also welcome Professor Albert Menkveld from Non-Standard Errors-2 Bigger and Even Less Standard. So I'll start with the Sama Dilaut film. So could you please tell us about Borneo Child Aid and the cause it works on?
We originally started as a school project in Borneo, in Malaysia, where we specifically targeted the Sama Dilaut groups because they're especially hard hit by the issues of statelessness, which essentially leaves them with no protection from any state whatsoever. Right now our new name, because we're expanding into the Philippines, is Indigenous Children's Learning Centers, where we currently have 14 schools in the island of Sibutu, you saw in the film, with about 2,000 children in total covering. And given the schools are in very basic conditions, but it's a lot better than nothing, in our opinion.
Of course. And well, when it comes to this film that you just saw, Sama Dilaut, what do you hope it will achieve, and how do you envision the film contributing to this cause?
It already has achieved quite a bit. So with the director Christine and the producer Radim, we've gone around to various agencies, embassies, including also with some interest from the UN Development Cooperation Program. And we've seen a lot of support and interest in this issue now, which has sadly been stagnant for decades. Actually, there's been virtually zero interest. But with this film, we're now being approached by embassies and agencies asking how can we contribute, which is mission accomplished from my point of view already.
Yeah. No, of course, that's amazing. And from your personal perspective, what part of the film resonates with you the most, or which part is maybe the most inspiring or impactful?
The last part, I think, where it's about their dreams. It's quite painful for me to watch now, because I know that since, even though the conditions look quite horrible here, it's actually gotten considerably worse due to, one, the price of seaweed essentially collapsing due to the economic crisis, meaning there's virtually no lifeline now. You're down to whatever fish and meager catches they can get, and to me, it makes me think what's going through their heads now. You know, if it was already wondering about how to make it through tomorrow, then they're actually at the stage of what are we going to do today. So yeah, a bit heavy. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. And what kind of audience do you hope this film will reach, and what do you believe that they could do?
I think that this film has the potential to show you that climate change, this is what climate catastrophe looks like. This is what happens when you don't take care of the environment, when you virtually neglect the needs of upwards of 300,000 people. They lose their entire identity, their way of life, their livelihoods, their futures thrown into disarray. They're left at the mercy of these horrible, cruel people, essentially, right? And I think that this film and films like it can serve as a warning to the rest of us, because it's not just the Sama Dilaut and other indigenous people that are going to be hit by this, it's also us. So I hope it can serve as a sort of a warning beacon for the rest of the world, that if we don't do anything, then this will be you very soon.
That's right.
It's a complicated issue to learn about as well. You might find that when you go online to look for them, you'll find that there's around 6 different ways in which people refer to the Sama Dilaut. The Sama Dilaut name is a name they've chosen, that is the name that they use for themselves. Bajau and a lot of other names are names that are imposed on them. So already there it's difficult. I would suggest that if you want to look into the history of people such as the Sama Dilaut, there's a anthropologist that whose name is Harry Nemo. He did some very interesting studies back in the 70s, 60s, where he's documented a lot of their thoughts and the way their life was back then. So yeah, Harry Nemo on the Sama Dilaut. That would be my start on where to go.
Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to add that I haven't touched on? Or?
Not on the top of my mind, but thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And well, let's move on to Non-Standard Errors-2, bigger and even less standard. Could you share your thoughts and experience on being part of a short film and how this differs from your usual academic work?
Yeah, so just to be clear, I'm an academic and scientist, so I sit in my office and I teach, and I never was part of a movie, so it was completely new to me. But the director, who couldn't be here, David Stolin, he approached me with this idea of, I like this paper that you have out there, a scientific paper. I believe the rest of the world deserves to know about it, and I have a way to do that. And I was just, like in the movie, I was skeptical. But then he came with a film script, and it showed that he had done these things before, and he's calling them EdComs, educational comedy. And it's been a great experience to be participating in it. I don't want to take credit for anything here. The script was entirely written. And so you asked me what was the experience. I admire people who are actors because it's so hard to be part of the scene and then to remember your phrases, yet you want to sound natural. So I did the best I could. And with it, to me as a scientist, came more interest in what all this stuff was about. And if I may, it's a bit non-standard to have this little film in the rest of this program. But maybe it's not, because when you hear, particularly the first movie was about feedback loops, and the many studies that followed about climate and how large of a problem is it. People analyze a phenomenon in the ways that they like. They parse the data, use the statistics that they feel is best. And what the non-standard errors shows is that if you have different research teams do the same task with the same data, you get different outcomes. And so you can have a debate now where some people say, look, you're completely wrong about the climate risk because this, that, and the other, and I did my analysis. Whereas other people say, no, it's even worse than we think. And so they're completely on the other side, because part of it is that they use different ways to go about analyzing the same data.
Yeah, of course, that makes sense. So. And so I guess it was quite different from your normal lecture or classroom. Okay. And well, what motivated you to get involved in the film project on Non-Standard Errors then?
Yeah, for the most, like I mentioned, scientists are a particular type of people. I guess we all are very curious, because if you're not curious, then there's no way you can be a successful scientist, because it's all about trying to figure out what's going on. And so the curiosity in me also came up when somebody comes with something completely new, and I wanted to find out about it. And then he told me that there was very little I needed to do. I just needed to read the lines and participate, and share it in my social circles. Come to film festival if you're invited, which is no cost to me at all. I actually enjoy film festivals. No, it was great to be part of this.
Okay, well, I'm glad to have you. And well, the research and statistics can be quite challenging subjects. How did you approach the challenge of conveying this information to a broad audience? Yeah, so the idea is to bring in comedy, and again, it's not me. I'm basically just I've had many conversations with David Stolin, the director, and the idea is that if you get a fairly complicated issue, but you
you look for a way to make it funny, people will not understand the entire phenomenon or the entire analysis. I don't have that idea, but they become interested. Like Sammy is talking about a talk show where people have to guess, make a guess about something, and that was also part of the scientific project. We made scientists that participated guess about what the outcomes would be, and they were oftentimes completely wrong. And so this was cast in a different story here, but it lures people into trying to figure out to either get to the slides or download the scientific paper and learn more about what we're doing.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and thank you to both of you for coming. It's really nice to have you. Lastly, where can people learn more about this if they're interested? At the name of the paper.
So it's at Movie is the producing company, and just Google I think it's @movie and or Non-Standard Errors, and you'll find out more about it.
Perfect. Thank you very much.